I'm Daisy Gonzalez. Welcome back to Husky Hustle, where we run down UConn sports in just a few minutes.
And I'm Lauren Mellett, and the timer starts now.
Our first topic is women's hockey. They just celebrated National Girls and Women's in Sports Day at their home game against BC. Tia Chan, yet again, was the star of the show. She had 45 saves, just 3 short of her season record versus Princeton back in October. Now, even though Chan was the star of the first period, Ashley Allard, True Thompson, Megan Woodworth scored just 16 seconds apart in the second period, which is crazy.
Yes, and our next matchup is coming up on Friday the 13th versus New Hampshire. Huskies hoping to regain their 6-game winning streak that was broken last year in their home game. They lost 2-3 in overtime.
Yeah, and I think the women's hockey team showed who they were last season, and so I'm excited to see how they'll end off this season since there's only 4 games left.
Next, moving on to women's lacrosse. UConn defeated Fairfield 10-6 on February 11th at Conway Field, which was their very first win of the season. They're continuing their winning streak versus Fairfield after losing in 2024 during their away game. Next match we have on Maryland to take on James Madison this Saturday at noon. We're currently in a 9-game losing streak against James Madison, so the Huskies are trying to regain that win, and we're looking to break that losing streak on Saturday. Last match, Huskies led 2-0 for the first quarter before James Madison took it away when they ended 11-8.
Yeah, and I think lacrosse, and I would say this could be an in-state kind of rivalry between UConn and Fairfield. So I think it's a strong win with this first win of the season, and even though we had a couple games before, I think this kind of sets the tone for where we're hoping the season will go.
Next, moving on to women's basketball. The most recent win was versus Butler in Hartford this past Saturday. AZ Fudd was a top scorer per usual, with her 15 of 17 points being scored in the first half. Even without their top scorer, Sarah Strong, the Huskies pulled through with their 41st consecutive win. They won 80-48.
I mean, they're just so dominant, and I wish we could see a real matchup. Not that these matchups aren't real, but I want to see some competitive basketball between them. But the Huskies will take on Marquette this Saturday, the 14th. They have won their last 7 games against Marquette and have only lost 1 to Marquette. Our last topic is men's basketball. We just had a heartbreaking loss in New York, and then that was our first loss in over 2 months. I think we have some strong players, Terrace, Mullins, Silas, but I just think we just have to connect, and we're going to be facing a lot of hard teams in the upcoming month with March coming up, and I think they just need to put their heads together and figure out what they can fix, and tonight they're playing, and I think they're going to come back. Dan Hurley always has them turn around their next game after a loss, so I'm excited to see where the team goes after this loss.
Yes, during our St. John's game, tied up at the halftime 39-39, but started the second half off really strong with Alex Caravan with his layup, and even though they kept fighting to keep it close, St. John's just started to pull away. About 15 minutes left on the clock. Silas had 18 points, led the Huskies with those 18 points. Next matchup that we have after tonight is Georgetown on Saturday the 14th at home. Since the Huskies have won the past 11 games versus Georgetown, and like you said, with our turnaround after this loss, we should see a good dub come out of that. We haven't lost since January of 2017, so hopefully we'll be able to turn it around for the coming games.
Yeah, Dan Hurley always knows how to whip the boys back in shape, so I'm not really worried at this point. But that's all we have for this week. We'll see you next week.